What's up, fellow traders? I have a few trade setups I'm looking at for this week. There's the week of June 22nd, 2020. Just four setups here. Let's start with Pinterest, and let's start on the monthly time frame. Monthly time frame, we're looking for a monthly lower high under this this recent monthly high 27.25. Looking for a monthly lower high under that level. Have these pivots here. Orange is standard pivots, blue is the demarc pivots. We're rejecting from the standard pivot from the initial tests, showing decreasing monthly volume, even though the monthly technically isn't closed yet. We suspect that's going to continue to be decreased relative to the month prior. Looking on the weekly time frame, we're in a weekly uptrend, and this is a short setup, so we do want to be cautious on a short setup because it is a weekly uptrend. The weekly is also showing this pivot for the year, showing that initial rejection. Going into the daily, we see this daily reversal candle reversing from the weekly resistance. This is the demarc resistance for last week, or for the month rather, with a reversal candle on high volume, suggesting that bears have short-term momentum. The 4-hour has an interesting look, 4-hour and hourly. Here we're just looking for a 4-hour higher low. On the hourly, we can see a bit of a sell-off waterfall from the price action on Friday. We have not technically changed the hourly trend bear, but on any bounce, I would suspect an hourly lower high under this 24.35 level. So the play is short. We'd want to short in on this bounce using this 24.35 level as our stop, anticipating that we will in fact lose this hourly trend. You can see for this hourly volume as substantial selling relative to the run-up, which I like for the short play, as well as the size of the pullback, which at this point, let's get a pull. What's happening? Is, work with me, not against me, 5%. So because of the size of this pullback, I would suspect that we're going to get an hourly lower high. Look to short that level against that 24.35 level. Team is looking really good. I don't think there's anything on the monthly. No, monthly's looking strong. So what we're looking at here is a long setup. Pins was my only short. These other three are all longs. The pin setup is you could swing it for a couple days. Otherwise, you could use it for an intraday trade setup as well. These setups I like as swings for a few days or longer. With Team Atlassian, I think you pronounce it. I actually don't love their software. I use it in my day job. And I'm not a huge fan of their software, but it is a working from home play. So nonetheless, would expect some continued bullish momentum. We set a quick weekly higher low, looking for a weekly higher low and higher high. Failed to reject. This was a couple weeks ago above this 190.21 level. We then consolidated, had a weekly inside bar, and broke bear with no follow through on the weekly with some notable upper wicks of selling. However, when we look in on the daily, we see this nice daily equilibrium forming. So let's draw this out so we can see it. Every low, high, higher low. We even actually have these back here, technically. So this is our daily equilibrium. You have a low, high, higher low, lower high, higher low. We had a bull break with no follow through on Friday. You can almost consider this a double top. The top of resistance was 180.53, got up to 180.81 before rejecting on fairly significant or aggressive move. So bulls are just looking for a daily higher low above 167.19. When you look into the 4-hour and the hourly, we see that hard sell-off. Let's clean this up a bit and take off pivots for a minute. So we see this waterfall selling pressure straight from this high of the 180.53 rejection, rejecting straight down. On any bounce, we're looking for an hourly lower high, potentially into this 200 MA, which is the green line, and when we need to see an hourly trend change to confirm this as the daily higher low. Otherwise, I would start to look at hourly oversold levels, or there may have been pivots here on the day. Let's double check this real quick before we move on. Yeah, we're under the pivot, so I would look for an hourly oversold level to start to look for a scaled in entry using this 167.19 as a stop, or if you just play more conservative, just wait for that hourly trend change to confirm we have our daily higher low. I am a bit biased. I'm swinging a position from last week and already using this 167.19 level as my stop. On consolidation, we're still looking for that weekly higher low. INSG has a pretty interesting setup here. So we're looking for a monthly higher low. We had a bear break of this monthly inside bar for this month of June down to 915, but really no follow through. We saw those lower wicks of bulls buying that dip. On the daily, I'm going to draw this out first. On the daily, we had this descending wedge type look. I like it more like this. And let's draw the bottom line. So when I draw descending wedges, I don't usually trade off of them. I just use them for a general guide. This is kind of I say it's a wedge-ish because it's not really a true wedge of how I would usually define it. But it's also not a descending triangle because this line technically isn't horizontal, it's horizontal-ish. So nonetheless, bears weren't getting any follow-through in selling off. We saw it rejecting from this line of these pivots over the last couple of weeks. Bulls got squeezed, broke above it, back tested, and now have had a couple day follow-through up into the resistance for the month. And it was on volume. We had a bit of a pullback on Friday. I had some calls I was swinging out here and sold them into that resistance zone. On the bounce, we know we're looking for a weekly lower high under this 1175 level, and even if we break above it, we're still looking for a weekly lower high above this 1515. We need to change this weekly trend to confirm our monthly higher low. Because this is a longer time frame trade, and because of the nature of INSG, I have been stopped out of this name a few times before because the hourly and 4 hour can be choppy, or it seems like a buyer comes in and then leaves for a period of time. Then the buying pressure comes in and then leaves, and it seems to be a constant stop out. So long story short is I play this with calls if I'm looking to play it long. That way I have a maximum defined risk, and even though it's a smaller position, the calls can move quite aggressively, so the risk reward has still been great, and I've had a couple really good trades within this structure. So what we're looking for is if we get a bear break of the 1062 level on Monday or early next week, looking for a daily higher low to start to scale in some calls for an eventual daily trend change, and to continue to see weekly follow through. So on the pullback, bulls can start to scale in around this. This is the DMARC pivot. You can also look at these daily EMAs, at hourly oversold, 4 hour oversold because of the size of this distance. They may be able to get that. Those are different areas where if you were so inclined, you could start to scale into a position looking for that daily higher low. Really like that setup. Walmart's also looking interesting. This is a good one for a longer term account that you don't want to play with as much. On Walmart, we're looking for a monthly higher low. We saw these upper wicks of selling into the standard resistance zone for the year. Looking on the weekly, we have a suggestion that this could be our monthly higher low. We need to see a weekly trend change with a lower high, higher low, and a higher high to confirm that this is in fact the monthly higher low. We see this consolidation and bulls holding the key pivots for the year on the weekly with this weekly inside bar. Zooming in onto the daily, we see it's kind of an interesting structure. I wouldn't really call it a daily equilibrium because we saw a bull break with no follow through initially. I like that we have a notable bear or bull divergence relative to SPY. SPY had a big sell-off with the quadruple witching day on Friday, as well just with the notable selling pressure. Walmart saw big bull volume, bulls buying that dip, unable to break this key resistance of 120.23, but even with the break and a bit of consolidation with this volume, I quite like this the look of this move. I also like that we saw a higher low and higher high on the RSI, suggesting that just showing really that notable strength from the bulls. This is where we see that here. So the 4 hour bulls bought that dip, had continuation into cash open regular hours, and then after hours just seeing a bit of consolidation here. I would like to see bulls get over this 120.23 level for a play next week, and then it's very similar to INSG. We're on a bounce, we're just looking for a lower high under this 131.99 level, and we need some more information on the weekly to confirm this as our monthly high or low. I won't be playing it that long personally. If I'm looking to swing it, I may look for 1 to 2 weeks max, looking for this weekly lower high to play out into the resistance zone. So that's what I'm looking for this week. If you have any questions or comments on the setups or anything else that I'm looking at particular to these names, feel free to drop a comment in the YouTube section below. Other than that, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and have a good rest of your day and a good weekend. See you later. Bye.